Yo, what it do, squad? It's your boy Brock, and no ego from McVay. He leaned on the run all the way.
Yes, he did. Gavin, Carlson in here, and there's big-time players and big-time plays all over the field, but the Rams just had a few dang more.
And my name is Doug McKain, and Davante Adams, you can take my hamstring. The Rams won, but did they lose Davante?
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it does. What it do? Whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? Locked On Rams Squad Show, baby. The Mob Squad back in the building after the Rams handle business at SoFi. What do we call it? The trade game? I don't know. It's a rivalry, and the Rams got it done. Big time win. Unbelievable. A lot of excited people in here. Shout out to everybody joining us live on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel, and you'll get it after the fact wherever you get the Locked On Rams audio podcast feed. Before we start today's show, before we get to the Mob Squad, Big Brock and D-Mac, we always got to shout out the sponsors. You know how it be. So shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Now, Big Brock and I, we had the little preview breaking this one down. I don't know how D-Mac felt coming into this game. So I want to start with you. Is this what you expected here as the Rams win an absolute shootout? I know there's some people in the chat saying BTA. Not really. This one was a nail biter until the end. But what are your thoughts just right off the bat? Biggest takeaway from that win?
41-34 is the final score. I had the Rams winning 33-27, so I had them winning up in the 30s. But I think it was a resiliency from the Rams. I think it wasn't the best start for Matthew Stafford. Threw an interception, was missing some throws. That Lions offense was explosive like we expected them to be with Jameson Williams, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and just the rest of that offensive unit. You knew they were going to score some points, and I give guys like Wallace, guys like Lamb, and kind of the Blake Corums of the world stepping up the way that they did. And I think that this is really a microcosm of what this Rams team has been all about this season, is they can take a punch, and they can get off the mat, and they can beat you in a lot of different ways. You want to win a defensive game and hold a team to under 20 points, they can do that. But, hey, if it's going to be an explosive offense that comes here and scores some points, hey, the offense, they can explode as well. I thought it was a great game for Colby Parkinson. I just want to say I'm in my fantasy playoffs. I picked up Colby Parkinson this week, and he got me the dub. So I love that. I will also say that was a touchdown, right? Of course it was. If you're a Rams fan, if you're a Lions fan, you're saying, heck no. But I think today the word to describe this win is resiliency from this Rams team. And, yeah, was it their best game of the year? No. But the fact that you can score 40-plus points and win a game when it's not your best game and go against a desperate Lions team that really is playing for their playoffs on the line. And, hey, I don't want to look ahead. I want to break this entire game down, but the NFC West title game is next Thursday, and it's going to be a bloodbath up in Seattle. So, hey, Ramley, we are in the playoffs, okay? So you got to check that box off the list. You got a ticket to the dance, and you want the 1 seed, but you can't get there until you clinch that playoff spot. So I thought all in all, a great resilience showing from this Rams team.
Extremely resilient. Big Brock, I know when we were doing the preview, I was saying shootout. You were saying, hey, it might be a surprisingly low-scoring one. We did not get surprisingly low-scoring. We got shootout from start to finish. Felt like this game, there's a couple near catches. If everyone stays healthy the whole game, this could have been kind of like that Monday night game against the Chiefs we were referencing, one of those 50-40, 52-49 type of games. Obviously, 41-34 the final. Any positives for the defense, or is this one of those ones where you just say, hey, we'll take the win, we'll move on and focus on Seattle next week?
I think it was exactly what we talked about this week. Obviously, I had a low-scoring game. Hopefully, the defense will step up and make some things happen. But, I got my foot in my mouth on that one. But when it came to what we thought about both teams, we talked about both teams being evenly matched. both teams being similarly built, where they're built from the inside out, where they have strong, front sevens. Both of them have great D-line, young D-lines. The second level is very good on both teams, and the secondaries were both suspect. We both had a question mark when it came to, the secondaries, and no wonder both quarterbacks had over 300 yards this game. So for me, I think it was exactly what we said this on the preview show, where we just thought both teams were evenly matched, and whoever, made less mistakes and executed, and, whoever took advantage of the secondary would win this game. So, as I'm watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, no low scoring game. But, ultimately the Rams are doing what they need to do to win. So for me, I went into it a little nervous. I don't know why I was nervous, and it wasn't like I was playing, but it was just like, both my teams playing against each other. I kind of had to take a objective, approach.
It was the Brock Bowl.
Yeah, there you go.
Brock Bowl, so, but I just think, I think both teams are, like I said, evenly matched. I think they're both two good playoff teams, potentially. And ultimately, our team just made plays. I think the run game was here to stay this game. Even when I seen them running towards the end of the game, and I'm watching him get 4 or 5 yards a pop, and I'm like, okay, he's leaning on it. He's not getting away from it. I remember, in the red zone, we throw the ball a couple of times, and we get like a penalty, and then we go back to the running game. I was like, thank God, somebody's in his ear telling him, like, hey, let's just run the ball. Enough, fancy dancy, type plays. Like, let's get in the end zone. So. I love the approach to the game. I thought it played out exactly like we thought, it was during the preview.
Yeah, especially because, like we were saying in the preview, I was like, I really looked at that Lions-Cowboys game closely and said, I feel like the Rams defense is pretty similar to what we saw from the Cowboys after the Quinnen Williams trade, after getting a couple linebackers, where they were really good front seven against the run. They were shutting down a couple, potent running games before the Lions, and the Lions couldn't run the ball against the Cowboys, but they exploded anyway and scored at will. And we were both in here saying, hey, it kind of feels like the same thing. The Rams are going to hopefully limit the run game. The question is, will the Lions still be able to take advantage of the Rams secondary? And my goodness, Puka Nacua 9 for 181, and he's not the best receiver on the night, because Amon-Ra St. Brown 13 for 164, 2 touchdowns on 18 targets. Oh, by the way, Jameson Williams, not even the best receiver on his team, 7 for 134 and a touchdown. All this talk about the Rams being the team that only has Puka and Davante and nobody else, but it was the Lions who just threw to 2 guys. They had basically, they had almost 300 of the 338 passing yards. I say all that to say, a bit of a concern going forward when the Lions have 2 guys they're giving the ball to every play, and you're not able to do anything to stop them. Both teams, it felt like the Lions had a couple 4th downs and 3rd downs where it was, all right, screw everything else. We can do a play action here. We can do a bootleg here. But no matter what we do, the ball's going to Amon-Ra. Same thing happened for the Rams. I think 2 4th downs on the same drive where it's like, I don't care how it happens, but we're throwing the ball to Puka, and it worked, right? Both teams got it to their best players at will. I think the reason the Rams win this game is you were able to get some other guys involved. You did get 2 touchdowns from Colby Parkinson. You did have an actual run game of 29 for 159 from the Rams versus 20 carries for 70 yards. I mean, D-Mac, 20 carries for 70 yards for the Detroit Lions run game. How in the world do the Rams only win this game by 7 points, right? Like, a phenomenal performance on that side for the defense. But the secondary, which I think you've been the most concerned of anybody, got exposed again today.
Absolutely. I think that the game that we saw in the second half was kind of the game that Brock was talking about leading up to this one, was a defensive performance from the Rams where they were going to be able to force some 3 and outs. And they did that in the second half, forcing 3 and outs in the Lions' first 5 drives. So that's the Rams defense that was a little more locked in, a little more sticking to their principles in that one. And I also look, anytime you get a freak interception like we saw from Aiden Hutchinson in the first half, and that kind of flips the game early. And that definitely is is one of the reasons why you're trailing 24-14 at the half. So, yeah, you look at it on paper, you say to yourself, man, this is a Rams team. Has the defense gotten exposed and this and that? And sure, they're working through some things defensively. There's no doubt about it. And stopping that Lions offense on a fast turf at SoFi is going to be a tough task, even for the 85 Bears, right? But you look at today, 10 points in the second half. You get those 3 and outs. You're starting to get more pressure. They get that late touchdown. So it does feel like, yeah, you beat the Lions. Did you survive a little bit? Maybe. The bottom line is they got the job done. And I think defensively, they turned up the pressure a little bit. You saw Kobe Turner getting home. He made some big play. I think you see Nate Landman kind of going sideline to sideline, making a big play. I see you're doing the conducting. Yeah, he needs to drop a Christmas album, bro. I'm telling you, man. He's got the voice, got the job.
No, he does have a voice.
He's got a little side hustle there. So I think all in all, I mean, that's kind of been the nature of this Rams team too, is they've been good against the run all season, but in an area where they have not been great, they've been good in stopping the run in a traditional sense, in between the tackles and just some wide zones, things like that. They've been able to make the tackles and wrap up, but it's allowing receiving yards to running backs has been an issue. And for the most part today, there were some plays, but nothing that really led to a loss or beat you. I do want to give an update on Davante Adams, and this definitely, from a vibe check standpoint, kind of like kills my vibe a little bit. But Sean McVay said that it, quote, didn't look good, but he's not ready to rule Davante Adams out against the Seahawks. So I think the good thing is, if we're talking about the Seahawks, we'll live with that. But when he went down, I was thinking, how serious is this? Grade 1, grade 2, this and that. So, look, if the worst case scenario is to miss a game against the Seahawks, and we know these things tend to linger, I want to get Michael Brocker's thoughts on that and just hamstring injuries in general and what he's seen throughout his career. But, I mean, that was a scary moment for sure because he's a veteran, and he's been dealing with this. We know they linger. He knew someone was up right away. The fact that he did walk off like he did gingerly, I think definitely is a positive sign. But we know for this team to get to where they need to get to, you need Puka and Davante, because if it's just Puka, no Davante, you don't have to game plan for that. It's going to be really different for this Rams offense. So that's what is concerning me right now. But I just kind of want to get you guys' thoughts on Davante. How concerned are you?
I mean, when you tell me that story as far as like him just missing one game, I think it's a good deal because we all know they can, get assessed and oh, it's going to be, 6 weeks. They'll tell you right off the bat. So the fact that we're questioning if he's going to, play or miss one game, I'm good with that. For me, it's just do we, since we got the playoff, do we rest our starters? Do we, how do we play this? Do we want the number 1 seed so we can get a bye? I think that's important. And we can't forget that in some way, we're used to playing without our number 1 receiver. We just haven't played without Davante yet. We know what this team looks like without Puka, and we can lean on Davante and things of that nature. But we just haven't seen who would step up if there is no Davante. So that's going to be interesting. Obviously, we got the 13 personnel and things like that. So for me, I'm not too worried going into Seattle. I know we'll have a great game plan. It's just going to be about executing, man. We're going against a great team, in there. And, it's hard to win in Seattle. So I like our chances just based off of the information that you just gave, D-Mac, that, we're questioning him missing one game. So we can look forward to him being in the playoffs because that's what what matters most.
Yeah, Jacob in here saying Puka's injury led to the discovery of 13 personnel, silver lining optimism. We saw it even in this game where, I mean, even before Davante was out and everything, I know he was kind of battling it throughout the game, but there was 13 personnel happening throughout the game. In the first half, you had Terrence Ferguson make an appearance, have a nice catch or two, get missed on what should have been a wide open walk-in touchdown, right? But we saw what Colby Parkinson did today. We saw 3 catches from Davis Allen. Think about it. There was a combined, 13 targets between Terrence Ferguson, Davis Allen, and Colby Parkinson. So there, obviously you're going to try to use the tight ends. We've seen it happen so far throughout the season. My biggest thing is, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. But D-Max brought it up in the past. Rams have been pretty lucky. I mean, maybe the luckiest team in the NFL in terms of the injury bug. Knock on any piece of wood you have. I mean, but you look at a day like today in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes tears his ACL. Michael Parsons, I don't know what the diagnosis is there, but looked really bad, right? Like there's guys getting injured all over the league at this time of the year. And so if the worst case scenario is number 2 receiver, I mean, in this game alone, it looked for a second, D-Mac and Brock, like Puka Nacua looked like he was looking at his knee. And I saw that Mahomes play live today. I saw that Micah Parsons play. You can't think you're thinking the same thing when you're seeing Puka look at his knee and limp off the field, right? It was a scary game and a scary day in the NFL. So if it's just a hamstring that takes a week or two for Davante, you got to win. You're 11-3. You're unfortunately in one of the best divisions in football where 11-3 is not enough to rest guys, but it could be a lot worse. And that's, I guess, what you got to say, right, D-Mac?
No doubt about it. I mean, losing Davante Adams would be an absolutely devastating loss that I think would limit this team's ceiling on their potential. But as you guys point out, you can still compete and you still have different packages, 13 personnel. You can feature guys differently. You can lean on the run game. I also think, too, that without a Davante Adams out there, you probably get a sharper version of Matthew Stafford in a sense that, hey, he knows that he can't make mistakes for this offense to be able to score enough points to stay in games if he's out. And you look at the red zone, too. I mean, that's where he's been a specialist this year with the red zone touchdowns, has turned this Rams red zone offense, which was one of the worst in the league, to a top 5 red zone offense. So the fact that he walked off on his own power, the fact that he has played throughout this season, not with 1, but 2 hamstring injuries and has not missed a game, it tells me, I think Brock brings up the best point. You look at the schedule, Falcons, Cardinals, after the Seahawks game, kind of what's left, it might, we talk about the blessing in disguise, right? The silver lining of the 13 personnel being implemented with the Puka Nacua injury. The silver lining here could be now you kind of look at it as that, hey, let's go up to Seattle. Let's compete as a group. Let's do what we have to do to win that game. Defense has a really good showing. The offense leans on the run game. Puka Nacua has a big game. You lean on the tight ends and a great performance from Matthew Stafford. But you also give Davante Adams some extended rest potentially. And when the playoffs rolls around, he's a plug-and-play guy that you don't have to worry about because I think that he already has that chemistry with Matthew Stafford at this point. So the silver lining in all this is saying, hey, if they can lock up that 1 seed, you could really, really give Davante Adams a good stretch of time to when that playoff starts rolling, he just ready to empty that tank and empty that clip for the entire playoff run. So I think that's a one way to look at it too. Might be some cope though, right? Might be a little bit of cope.
I mean, it might be some copium, but it's also true. It's also very true, I think. And we'll see. I mean, we've got people in here agreeing with you saying this forces McVay to figure out another way to evolve the offense. He's already done it a couple times this year. After the break, I want to talk about some of the plays that made us very encouraged in this game because I feel like offensively, there's a couple beautiful designs, a couple beautiful runs. Felt like this Rams offense was unstoppable. And it's nice to see this Rams team win games in a multitude of ways. Today was another shootout, and we won, whether it's an ugly game against the Titans, or a wire-to-wire shootout against the Lions on turf. The Rams are going to win no matter what, and that's what you need going into the playoffs, be able to win every single way. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we got a lot to talk about. The rest of the offensive performance today. Matthew Stafford getting it done against his old team. It's always fun to see that. Thought Jared Goff looked good as well. We'll get into all of that and more after our break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Today's show brought to you by that new sponsor, Aura Frames. Look, I'm Gen Z. I know I like you saying the word Aura, but no better company to use it than Aura Frames. I'm telling you why, because they've got the perfect gift for the holidays. The holidays are officially here. Christmas, 11 days away, whatever holiday you celebrate, happy holidays. It means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap. It's a way to share memories because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug in the frame, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Think about it. You might have a grandma or grandpa, an older relative who they're not great with technology, but you know what? Those older people are, they're very sentimental. They love photos. They love looking at them. Imagine how amazing it would be to upload a bunch of photos, you hand it to them, and the packaging of Aura Frames, it comes gift ready. No price tag, no wrapping. They literally open up the frame, and it instantly is playing the photos you've already pre-saved on there. It's the holiday gift that actually gets used, not forgotten in a drawer. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter. By using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout, that's AURA, auraframes.com, promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Back here live with the Mob Squad, the Locked On Rams Squad show on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel, all on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Big Brock and D-Mac in here as the Rams pick up a big time 41-34 win. I think everyone expected it to be somewhat of a shootout. The over-under was 55.5. But my goodness, 75 total points in this one. And again, you think it's some of the games the Rams have had this season, right? Where you're beating the Houston Texans 14-9, right? Like you beat Baltimore 17-3. But then you have a couple shootout games, and it's always nice to know your team can win in multiple ways. Today, probably the biggest test of the season. I mean, obviously the Philadelphia game will frustrate us for a while. We did lose to the Niners, but we're able to come back from that one. This was circled on everyone's schedule for so many reasons. And for this game to go the way the Lions want it to, where it's a shootout, Amon-Ra is roasting you at will, Jameson Williams getting behind the defense at will, and you still beat them, that says a lot. Because I think the Rams, if this was a game that was 14-10 and you told me that's how the game would go, I would say the Rams are probably better equipped to win that type of game. Maybe some people were questioning if they're well equipped to win a 41-34 game. Well, they proved it today. Huge reason why was the run game. 15 for 78, 2 touchdowns for Kyron, 11 for 71 and a touchdown for Blake Corum. Big Brock, do you still have a say in this race between Kyron and Corum? Who you like more? Do you feel like they used them perfectly here today? 15 and 11 carries respectively.
Man, I think they use them, each, like I said, these are the same back. I'm being honest with you. I think Corn might be a little faster, but they're the same back. So you just play, play puzzle pieces, When he's tired, take him out, put the other back in. When he's tired, take him out. You're going to get the same result. What I thought today, it exemplified, I thought McVay was a lot bolder. Like, I don't know, man. He, what we talk about in the locker room, man, you got to have some cojones to play this game, man. And I just think he took that demeanor upon himself to take like the Lions demeanor, the Dan Campbell philosophy, because early on I was looking at 4th and 5, 4th and 3 or something, then a 4th and 8. I was like, are we serious? Like, who do we think we are? But I think it was like a do or die mentality he implemented. He was like, I feel like our receivers are better than them, and I'm going to just bet on my receivers being better than their secondary. It was simple as that. Like 4th and 5, 4th and 8, you go for it, and you just like, without hesitation, you're just like, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm on, their side of the field or whatever. I'm going to go for it on 4th. So I think his demeanor, because maybe the first 2 matchups where they played, I felt like Detroit kind of had that demeanor where it was just like, we're going for it on 4th. We're winning this game no matter what. I think he felt that or seen that from the first 2 times that these teams played, and he took that upon himself to have that demeanor. I don't know if you guys agree, but I noticed that from the first half of the game, what McVay was going into it with. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I think that he understands that he's going to be, that Dan Campbell's going to be a little bit of a riverboat gambler. I think heading into this one, they had gone for it 25 times this season on 4th down, which is one of the tops in the league. And I think for McVay, as far as how he views the run game, I think he looks at the efficiency, and combined, they average 5.7 yards per carry, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns total, but it's the efficiency. And when he knows that he's going to get a nice chunk to set up a 3rd and short, or he's going to fall forward, and it's not going to be negative plays, he's not going to fall in love with the pass. So I think for McVay to trust the run, it's really important that they're effective early in games, because, I mean, we love Sean McVay. This is a big Sean McVay show. We are all, Sean McVay stands, right? But we all know, too, that if the run's not effective early, he can rip up that play card and pass, spam it, right? So I think that big shout out to that offensive line with that duo scheme, the physicality they're playing with, and the way that I love Blake Corum's patience there. I mean, the way that he's kind of one cut and go, but the vision of Blake Corum, he knows when to break it outside. Kyron Williams kind of wants to get downhill a little bit different, just kind of find those little creases, right? So I think that you got to give those guys a lot of credit for not just being effective overall, but doing it early in games, because when you do that, I think he sticks to the script a little more. You trust them a little more. And I think he just kind of quality of life is a little better out there when you can win the line of scrimmage. And I think, I have some concerns about this game. I mean, Manuel Forbes, Kobe Durant, they got torched again, right? And we've seen big, physical, fast receivers exploit the Rams secondary. And at this point, it was an aberration with Forbes, or now we're talking about a 3-game stretch where he's kind of looking like the Forbes that people had questions about being a first-round pick. And then Kobe Durant, he was on coverage on that big play for Amon-Ra St. Brown. We had that penalty, that ticky-tack penalty on Emmanuel Forbes. And kind of my concern there is that the reason why this links to the run game is I don't necessarily know that this Rams need. Of course, I told you I want a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. We've had that for the first time since 2001. But it's not like that 2021 team was a top 5 defense, right? They just had a lot of top-end talent at very valuable positions, and they locked up in the postseason. So I do think today we saw the ingredients of, hey, maybe there are going to be those games against really, really good teams where, yes, we know we have on defense, but we've got to win the shootout. And a lot of times when you think of winning a shootout, you think of throwing the football. But the Rams have shown they can win a shootout by throwing and running the football. And that's why it's so important to, hey, who cares who's better? Who cares who's starting? They're going to need Blake Corum and Kyron Williams and that offensive line to be at their best if they want to make a deep run in the playoffs. And I'm starting to get – hey, fellas, we got to lap that scoreboard. We got to break that scoreboard if we win a Super Bowl. And that's starting to hit me right now, just kind of looking at that defense, because I just don't know that the personnel is there to lock up ones, at least right now.
I hear you.
Yeah. Especially a couple people were in here saying it. Mike was in here saying it. He said, I don't blame the DBs for the struggles versus the line receivers. Goff had a load of time, especially in the first half. That's fair as well. I think nobody's expecting this Rams secondary to lock up, right? Like, all three of us agree that this is a below average to average secondary at best. But when Jared Goff only gets sacked one time, he got drilled by Kobe Turner maybe 1 or 2 extra times outside of that. I think I would much rather have a game where you get 2 or 3 sacks and the DBs get burned. It felt like you didn't really have either, but the Detroit Lions are unbelievable. If you told me the Lions were going to be held to 70 yards on the ground, like, you almost say, if you give up 500 yards passing, the defense still did its job. They held the Lions to 70 yards rushing. Like, that is something that not many teams in the league are ever going to be able to do. So it's scary.
Catch-22. I mean, I want to ask Brock about that. That's kind of the catch-22 when you're so focused on stopping the run. And that's essential to your principles. And I think that's one of the big reasons why this Rams team either has not gotten blown out, stayed in every game, won every game, right? Won most games, right? But it does feel like you're not seeing that consistent pressure when you're going up against big physical offensive lines. And sometimes they can get pushed around early in games, and it's the second half where they start to see those adjustments. So I think that's really incumbent upon that defense. I mean, you got to just get big and physical, get to the quarterback. We know if you get to Jared Goff from a QB rating standpoint, he turns into below average, right? I mean, that's just from every single standpoint. But I mean, Brock, when you're so focused on stopping the run like that, does it kind of impact the other areas of the defense when it comes to just the play of the cornerbacks on the outside?
I look at it as, obviously you got to make a team one-dimensional, but once you make them one-dimensional, you have to stop them. And I mean, obviously, we didn't get any pressure. We talked about that in the preview show. If you don't rattle Jared Goff and you let him sit back there, he can have a phenomenal day. And that's what you've seen early on in that game is we weren't getting enough pressure. We weren't getting to him. He was not getting out the pocket, but stepping up in the pocket, finding receivers and things. So for me, it was more about obviously making them one-dimensional. That's what you want to do. So we can check off that box. But when we know they're in passing situations, we should be locking up because we know that they're in a passing situation. I think that's where we need to be better. Obviously, Forbes and Durant. I mean, when you're asked to run with Jameson Williams, not too many corners are going to be able to do that. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, we're asking a lot of our DBs when we're talking about, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, routing you up, finding those, the little spots in the zones, and then you just got Jameson Williams just running away from you, So for me, early on, I just think the pressure, in passing situations wasn't there. But I think the front did their job as far as stopping the run and making them one-dimensional. I think we just got to do better in those passing situations, knowing that, they're passing. We got to lock up on the outside and get some pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah,
because you look at the other side too. I mean, the Rams, they're running those super deep routes, and they weren't getting to Stafford with any consistency. So it's like you saw how that play on the other end. But I think from the Rams standpoint, we saw what they need. First half, when they weren't able to get pressure, they were really inconsistent getting pressure, and Jared Goff carved them up. That's what he does. If you give him time, he will find open receivers, especially on crossers, especially with the guys that you mentioned, Jameis Williams, St. Brown. I mean, those guys will beat anyone on a fast turf if you give him time. Second half, they held the Lions to 5 yards in the third quarter and 10 points total. And they did it by getting pressure. So, I mean, I think for me, it's against this Lions team that clearly has had a little bit of a drop-off from the last couple of seasons. They're not in that elite category. We've seen a lot of teams this year. We've seen what it looks like to play the Eagles when they're right-ish at home and what they're capable of doing. My fear is that I don't know against a really good team that you have the second half to adjust and expect to win that game in the playoffs. I think we need to see a better first half team, and Chris Shula, instead of making adjustments at the halftime, make it after a series, make it during the quarter. And if it is twists, if it is maybe throwing some blitzes, maybe mixing it up a little bit, they know that if they're not getting pressure, it's going to have an extremely negative impact on their DB play. So look, these are, I mean, like Brock said, I mean, you're downloading information throughout games throughout the season. And I think that's kind of a big takeaway in this one is they need to find a way why that pressure rate has gone down in recent weeks, because that kind of performance in the first half against a really good team in the playoffs, it could be difficult. I mean, I still trust the Rams offense. I really do. And that's what I think is going to make this Rams team special. But we're kind of looking at it from that standpoint right now. So I totally agree.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we got plenty more to talk about, man. At the end of the day, the Rams did clinch a playoff berth. They're still, in my opinion, I think in all three of our opinions, certainly still the team to beat in the NFL. And obviously, we still have to talk a little bit about that unreal showdown coming up on Thursday night against the Seahawks. We'll do that after our next break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Today's show also brought to you once again by FanDuel. Now, look, NFL Sundays, they move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. For example, today's game, maybe you see Davante Adams go down. Maybe you see Puka cooking and you figure the Lions are going to zone in on him. Maybe you were smart and said, I think Colby Parkinson is going to catch a touchdown or two, something like that. That's what live betting is all about. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Back here live on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Rams 41, Lions 34. D-Mac pointed out the Rams absolutely shut down the Lions offense in the third quarter. Let's not forget, there was a moment in this game, you know, it feels like this game was back and forth. There's a moment the Rams are down 24-14, right? And that's the type of situation where the Lions are so used to then leaning on that two-headed monster in the backfield and just running out the clock and running down your throat. Well, guess what? The Rams get a field goal before halftime. They get another field goal to open up the second half. I think we were all a little disappointed that instead of tying the game there at 24, you only held to 3. But as much as we're going to be critical of this defense getting exposed, especially through the air, they have the 3 and out with the punt. Or they force the punt. Rams go take the lead. They force another punt. Just like that, the Rams score. And just like that, the Rams are up 10, right? So to go from 24-14 down to 34-24 up, 20 unanswered points. Very, very impressive. One other thing I got to say, I don't know if you guys caught it, but Brady on the broadcast, he said, look, if you're the Rams, you got to earn the right to rush the passer, and then said, and Poona Ford is going to do that. And I'm sitting there going, is Brady watching the Locked On Rams Squad Show? Because he's quoting Big Brock. You got to earn the right to rush the passer.
That's a Brockism.
And then he sounds like D-Mac praising Poona Ford as well. So he went 2 for 2 there. Brady, hey, you're biting our show, man. But I would too. It's the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Come on now.
Come on now.
It's been fun reading the comments. Keep them coming, everybody. Appreciate it. Nice little debate here about the kind of defense, because some people are saying, hey, well, Goff gets the ball out in 2 seconds. How's the pass rush supposed to get there? Other people are saying you can't blame the DB because the pass rush didn't get there, right? The moral of the story is the Lions are an amazing football team. And what someone pointed out, and rightfully so, we all talked about the run game being the number one goal to stop. But I think the number one goal is stopping Jahmyr Gibbs in general. If you go back to that Lions-Cowboys game, Gibbs couldn't run the ball, but he still had 77 yards in the air. He still had like 3 touchdowns, right? Today, it's got to be the first time where Jahmyr Gibbs only has 58 total yards of offense, right? 20 yards through the air, 38 on the ground. That's got to be his lowest mark of the season. So just have to say, make sure we give him his credit there. But let's talk about next week. I don't know. You guys got anything more for this week, or is it time to start talking about Seattle a little bit more?
No, I thought this game was played like we said, it was played the way we thought it was going to play out. We ultimately on our team have the X factor in Matthew Stafford, him putting us in the right place, him putting us in the right situation, the deep balls. I think that's the only thing that really separates these two teams is the Rams. I feel like the Rams have a quarterback that can accurately throw the deep ball. Jared Goff is great, in between the lines. I think, like I said, we knew this was going to play out like this. So, I have nothing else to say. I just, going back to what we said earlier is like, I think the defense did what they were supposed to do. Stop Jahmyr. Don't let him get any explosive routes. Tom also said that, our team plays a bend-o break type of defense. And I can agree with that. Also, we have a great defensive front, but that's how we play. And, we win the game situationally. So I think that's what happened today.
Yeah, I would say too, just giving some love to Kobe Turner. I think one of the big sequences of the game, third quarter, he gets the hit, he gets the sack, leaves that punt. 2 plays later, the Rams score. And that's when you start to see them blow up and kind of explode in this one, a game where, as you point out, you're down 24-14. You're like, what's going on? I'm starting to think, wow, think about this nightmare scenario. It could be Rams lose to the Lions. They're going up to Seattle in a wet, rainy against the 12 and everything there. And you're looking at, wow, bye-bye 1 seed, bye-bye NFC West. And we're talking about Davante Adams' injury. Like a lot really was cleaned up by the performance of that offense. But I think that for the defense, not having their best showing, Kobe Turner, absolutely player of the game for me. 5 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 QB hits, a sack, and giving that offense momentum the way he did. I also want to ask you guys, though, not calling out anyone, but on the crossover episode, the Lions crossover guy, Matt Deary, great guy, great show. But I was saying, he said that, the most of the fans are going to be Lions fans and that it's going to be a Lions crowd. Hey, the Ramleys showed up and showed out. The Rams crowd has been great all season long. I think they gave them a home field advantage. And let's not act Lions fans are acting like they're Packers fans now, acting like they're Eagles fans now, acting like they're Steelers fans now. Trust me, no one loves Eminem more than me, right? Like no one loves Detroit and look, man, trust me, I respect Detroit, I really do. But hey, I think the Rams fans deserve a lot of credit in this one, and I like it's just a little fun because I think there's a nice. I think the Rams versus Lions has as much juice in it right now as any NFL team going against each other. It almost reminds me of like Dodgers Padres or something, where it's not like their classic rival, but just because of the Stafford Goff angle, the Campbell McVay angle, the fact they play each other in the playoffs, like these teams go at it. And it really did feel like a heavyweight title fight in this one. And I think that the Rams team, that they didn't back down. They got a big win. It was one of the more impressive wins of the year, considering, I mean, how many teams come trailing 10 at the half are going to come back and win the way that they did today and drop a 40-piece on you. So I was just very impressed by how resilient this Rams team was and just the offense saying, hey, we got this today.
Yeah, absolutely. Last thing I'll say real quick about this game, I think Big Brock is absolutely right in that if you're able to limit the mistakes, execute more than the other team, that's going to be the difference. What's impressive about this game, let's not forget, there was only 1 turnover in this game, and it was the Rams, right? The Rams went 2 of 9 on third down. So kind of 2 of the big things, the turnover battle and third down, you kind of lost both of those, and yet you outgain the Lions 519 to 396. You have 9 yards of pass, 7.5 yards of play in general. You were the better team, despite maybe those 2 key stats that normally decide close games, right? Like third downs and turnovers. What that kind of tells me is this game was closer than maybe it should have been, right? Like the same way there's Seahawks fans saying, hey, we lost that game at the buzzer despite 4 picks. We can say we won this game against the Lions by 7, but we were really up 14 in the last couple of minutes. We also had a back-breaking interception that would have been at least 3 points for the Rams, become 7 for the Lions, and we weren't that effective on third down, and we lose Davante for the entire second, right? Like, as critical as we're going to be of the defense and everything, this is an unbelievable win. Like, it really is. You beat one of the best teams in football despite losing those key statistics. Let's not forget it. I will say, we go to Seattle. I'm bounced. I got to leave right now. You guys are going to hold down the rest of the show. Let me quickly give my prediction because there won't be a midweek show. Rams favored by 1.5 in Seattle. I hate to say it. I think they're going to get us, though, guys. I really do. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. The reason why
you made that prediction before the season. You've been waiting for that all year to predict that. No, I'm just playing with you. No,
I don't even remember. I think I might have. I think my biggest thing is when it's a division game against a really good team. I think Seattle's better than even we kind of predicted they were going to be. The moral of the story is it's hard to beat a really good team twice, right, in a year. I see us playing Seattle 3 times this year. I see us playing them in the playoffs. So guess what? We can lose on Thursday, but then I think that gives us a better chance of winning if we meet them in the playoffs. My gut tells me Seattle beats us. My gut does. But I'm still picking the Rams, man. Give me the Rams, man.
You asked me
Give me
a
the
couple
Rams.
weeks ago. You asked me, I mean, I respect that for sure. I mean, you asked me a couple weeks ago who I was my biggest fear, who was my biggest threat. And that was at a time when there were other teams that were being talked about more. And I keep going back to the fact that Seahawks team with 4 turnovers against the Rams still only lost by a couple of points in their house. I mean, it's a really, really, really good defense up there.
Yeah.
It's a very tough place to play. You're likely not going to have Davante Adams. You're coming off of both games were hard fought. I mean, they won a little back and forth field goal battle against a 98-year-old Phillip Rivers, and then the Rams going up against the Lions. So I mean, both tough games. Thursday Night Football. I do think it's kind of one of those situations if you're the Rams where we saw them play some of their best football without Puka Nacua in Jacksonville. And I think that they're going to be extra focused knowing that they could be potentially limited. So yeah, it's going to, before we know it's going to be here. I mean, it's going to be, that's the biggest TNF game of the year.
It is. And my guts say Seahawks. It really does. But I don't want anyone to get confused. I'm still picking the Rams, guys. I still, the guts say Seahawks, right? Like it's one of those where it's like you got hurt. You're coming off a huge game. Seahawks looked really bad this week. They're going to bounce back. But I don't know. Maybe the Seahawks got exposed a little bit this weekend, barely beating 44-year-old quarterback. So
yeah, all I'm saying,
still going
Gavin,
Rams.
before you leave,
I'm still going Rams. What you got?
All I'm saying, Gavin, is I'm taking Davante Adams with no hamstrings versus Cooper Kupp with 2 healthy hamstrings.
Oh,
that's
God.
all I'm going
to say. The shade.
No, I'm just playing it. Good game day,
crazy.
46 yards, 5 catches. But yeah, I love that subplot right there. I love
someone
that
commented.
Right
they said, "I'm only here for D-Mac to diss Cooper Kupp." I saw someone say that in the comments. So there you go. You got it.
Cooper Kupp.
You got it. You
Favorite
got
player
it.
of all time, the GOAT.
I love it. But give me the Rams. I'm going to say 21-17. I think it's going to be an ugly one. Maybe there's going to be some weather. But give me Rams 21-17. Big Brock and D-Mac going to hold it down for the rest of the show. They'll give you their picks and much more. But big time win for the Rams. And we'll see you guys on Thursday night. Big Brock and D-Mac. So long. You guys will hold it down from here.
Yes, sir.
No, Brock. I mean, I think for me, it's what happens right now if you're the Rams, knowing that game's on Thursday, and how big of a difference is that game going to be Thursday versus what would potentially be Sunday? I mean, I think the good part about it, both teams have the same circumstances, both play in that late window, both played a big physical game against a good, tough opponent. Seahawks do have the advantage. They don't have to travel. It is the West Coast for the Rams, I think, which is somewhat beneficial. But, I mean, how big of a factor do you think that is?
I mean, playing a quick game like that and then also having both our star receivers being hurt or nicked up before going into Seattle on a Thursday, short week, got to get rehab. Like, it's going to be really tough for the Rams to, say they're at full strength come Thursday. So I expect, them to muster up some energy. I would really rather them sit Davante if it's not anything serious, and just let's make it an ugly game. We can win a shootout. We can win an ugly game. Let's get in 13 personnel, make no mistakes, dink and dunk. I mean, literally, I had the Colts and Seahawks game up, so I'm watching it as I'm watching. I think it was a little early, But I'm watching the game. So I'm watching the game and I'm noticing that's all Phillip Rivers is doing. He's, not trying to go win the game. He's trying to dink and dunk. Let's get the ball out to our athletes. Let's allow them to make plays, and let's, win a defensive nasty game. Honestly, I think that's the best way to beat a really good team that's really hot, is just to wear on them. And then all of a sudden you look up, you're up by 7 or 3 at the end of the game, or you're going in for a kick to win the game. If they just make it ugly, stay close. Like if they're behind, just stay close, stay within the game. Obviously, you look at this game going in the second half, we were down by 10 points or, 10 points. And I was smiling because, me, I always think we're the best second half team in the league. We make great adjustments at halftime and come out looking like a whole different team. So if we go up there and make it a nasty game, obviously we have an experienced quarterback that has played there. He's won there. So for me, it's all about executing football and, making it look dirty, but just going in there for the win, not trying to be cute, and look good, man. Going out there and just really grinding it out and winning that game.
No doubt about it. I think that makes me feel a lot better knowing that you pointed out. You watched that game, and Phillip Rivers, I was flipping back and forth. He was getting comfortable. Yeah, he didn't score a million points or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But I think that if you're a Rams fan out there that thinks, oh, they don't have enough to win, I mean, you're not a Super Bowl winning team if one defender, if one receiver, if one tight end, if one player is going to make or break your season. And yes, Davante Adams Davante is incredibly important to this offense. There's no doubt about it. I think for this team to win the Super Bowl, could they do without him? Sure. Would it be a lot easier with him? I think the answer is absolutely yes. But I do think that this just presents another test. And guys like Tutu Atwell, we saw a little active today. This is a perfect opportunity he got those 10 biggies, right? He got those 10 M's, right? Let's earn those 10 M's this week, right? With guys like Tutu Atwell. I think Konate, he's not Davante, but Konate, I'll phrase his name a little differently this week for Mumfield, right? Guys like the tight ends in the mix. So I do think that this is kind of a perfect world too. Like Gavin was saying, hey, if you're going to face this team again down the road too, hey, having them have one look against the Davante Adams Rams, where when they were playing him back early in the season, it wasn't the same Davante Adams as we've seen for the last couple of weeks. So that could be an extra benefit of it too, is if they face again, you're not necessarily seeing the very best peak 10 out of 10 version of the Rams, right? So you kind of save some stuff, especially for red zone situations. So I look at it this way. The Rams, 54% chance at this point, finishing with a 1 seed with 3 games to go. You kind of feel like you're in the driver's seat in the division, knowing that after this game, as you point out, you got the Falcons and Cardinals after that. I mean, just go all in on this one, and then you're kind of coasting for the rest of the season, and you're putting yourself in a really good spot to get a bye in home field advantage throughout. So I think the circumstances are going to force everyone to level up. And you say, oh, cool, Seattle, you're happy we got Davante Adams? Okay, well, we'll show you that we'll still beat you without him.
Absolutely. And that just shows what kind of championship mentality this team has. With one monkey don't stop the show is what, it's cliche little statement, but I mean, it's honestly what a championship team has to have, especially playing football. This is 100% injury sport, so for us, it's about next man up. Let's see whose opportunity is going to be presented and take advantage of it. And I love our chances at that. I feel like we have a great staff. And when you have a quarterback that we have has tons of experience, has played in the playoff, has won the big game, I just choose us over them just because you know what you're kind of going to get, from Sam Darnold, So for me, it's let's prepare for what we know is going to happen. Sean McVay knows it's going to be loud. He knows the atmosphere is going to be crazy. He knows that it's a potential for, a big game and playoff potential. Like, I don't think he's going up there and he's going to be shocked by the atmosphere. I just think we have to be ready to execute on every level. And like I said before, don't try to make it cute. Really make it a nasty ground out game and keep it close. And I pick us to win.
As you point out, they're like championship teams and teams that know it's at stake. I think that's what makes me believe the most, because I hate to point this out, but you look at where they're sitting right now, 11-3. You're number one in the NFC. You got the Rams, the Bears, the Eagles, the Bucks, then the Seahawks at 5th because of the division at 11-3, and then the San Francisco 49ers, man. No one hates, well, Aaron Donald hates them more than I do, but like no one hates the Niners more than me. But you got to give them credit, man, with all those injuries they've had all season long, to be right there, sneaky in the mix, sitting at 10-4. If the Rams lose to the Seahawks, they go from 1-5. And yes, you have a couple more weeks. Yes, you still have a chance to win after that. But I do think that at this point, we know Sean McVay. We know Chris Shula. We know Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Kobe Turner. We know the leaders of this team. I think I just get a real sense of they really understand what's at stake for them this season. And I mean, can you feel when you feel like you have a special team, right? And you don't want to say, special teams want to stay with each other and play with each other for as long as possible. And that means winning multiple games of the playoffs, going deep into January, into February. So I feel like that the culture of this team, like that Thursday, I'm looking for a culture win. And it is the Rams culture versus their culture. And if they can go up there and beat Seattle for the second time this season, I think that would be more proof to me, like, man, like this team just keeps showing us all year, like, hey, we're the real deal. We're the real deal. We're the real deal. Injuries still win. Tough 3-game stretch, still win. Bucks, whatever it may be. The Panthers was the only like weird loss of the season, and we're almost at the end of the season. So I think the consistency of this team is just so impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's just like we said earlier in the show, how resilient this team is. You know, this team a year ago was full of rookies and first and second year guys. Now you have second year, third year, fourth year guys on this team who've seen what last year and who felt the pain and the ending of last year, going in Philadelphia, losing in the snow. You know, understanding that they rallied towards the end of the season too. So I feel like our team has been there. You know, I feel like our team is more experienced in the fact that knowing the importance of this, you know, going into Seattle, obviously they understand what, like I said, the atmosphere is going to be. I just think the intent and like how the intent and then how intense the players are for this rivalry matchup, for this game, knowing it's to win a division, knowing it's for to get the number one seed in the NFC. I feel like our players understand that a lot more than their team does. You know, the team is very young. I feel like that group hasn't played together enough and experienced in the playoffs enough. You know, we know what you know Sam Darnold looks like in the playoffs, and we know that he's played us twice in the playoffs, and we picked him off multiple times. So, and the first game we played, we picked him off. So, in the back of his head, he's thinking about that. He's thinking about these games. So, I know he's losing sleep right now, knowing that he has to play us on Thursday. So, I just give us the one up on that.
Yeah, that didn't even cross my mind yet. That, hey, Sam Darnold, he's got to get that Rams monkey off his back, right? He's got to prove that he can beat the Rams, whether it be with the Vikings, whether it be with the Seahawks, and we need him out there seeing ghosts. And the Rams defense, for whatever reason, it feels like they just play their best football against Sam Darnold, and they force him to make mistakes. So I think that's 100% massive. And then you add the fact that you look at the veterans, and this is a Seahawks team where, Sam Darnold, is he a franchise quarterback? Is he a journeyman quarterback? Is he something in between that? You don't know. We know Matthew Stafford's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. We know he's an MVP, and that's something that's also going to be, I think, float around on in his mind for Thursday too, because a major platform game, a statement game, another way to. It's like you're trying to win the Heisman Trophy, right? So how do you win your Heisman Trophy? You ball out against a rival in the last game of the season, right? And even though it's not the last game of the season, it does kind of have that feel of the last big game of the season. And I think that's going to be massive as well. And I think, too, just kind of getting your thoughts on, obviously, it's terrible when I hate all injuries, right? The worst part about sports, and football is a brutal game, and you guys put your lives on the line to play a game. And, you're compensated very well. But, hey, blink of an eye, anything can happen, right? And today we saw Patrick Mahomes go down. They've already reported it's a torn ACL. And sure, that's a Chiefs team that doesn't look like the Super Bowl winning Chiefs teams in the past. But when you just kind of look at the fact that, wow, now Mahomes, who already was not going to make the playoffs, most likely, right? When you kind of look at around the league, you kind of say to yourself, well, Lamar Jackson's not going to be around for the playoffs. And if he's a guy that you're not expecting to run into, and Mahomes not there, Burrow's not there, and Josh Allen could have an opportunity this year. Look at the AFC. What? The Bo Nix and the Broncos, Drake May and the Patriots. And you look at your side, the Bears, the Seahawks, the Eagles. I think that there's certain years where your eyes just kind of light up and you say to yourself, like, man, like, this is an opportunity here. Because sometimes you'll look around and guys are having certain years. And we know, look, some of those years when the Patriots were rolling, some of those years when the Chiefs were rolling, you just knew. You didn't want to admit it, but you knew that ultimately they would kind of win a Lombardi. I think that's got to be, whether it's in the back of their minds or just a pure fact that just the opportunity, the path to a Super Bowl is just so there that you just have to capitalize when you're this deep into a season and you put together a season you haven't. And we know that you can go out there and beat any team in front of you.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this team has the pieces. I mean, you just need to play good defense. You know, you don't need to play. I don't feel like you need to play great defense. I think you need to play great team ball. Like, you know, execute on offense. Don't have any mistakes. Special teams, I don't even want to hear from special teams. Just do your job. And defensively, make them one-dimensional like we've been doing all season. Stop the run, put them in passing situations, and play the passing down. Like, I mean, let's not make it rocket science, as everybody says. Like, let's simplify the game. Let's run the ball. Let's throw it to our playmakers when we have to, not just because we want to and we want to look good. Like, this is the playoffs. Let's win those nasty, ugly games. We have two great running backs that are similar, so you can interchange them in the offense, you know, here or there. So for me, it's about, like you said, man, take advantage of this opportunity right now. Like we have, I would say, besides the Eagles after winning last year, one of the most experienced teams when it comes to going in this playoff race. So I give our, you know, we have high chances once it comes playoff time when you know, we're playing our NFC, you know, opponents. I give us the one up because we have the team with the most experience.
Yeah, and the Eagles are still a team that's in the back of my mind too, because they're experienced, because I think they could put themselves in a position to peak at the right time. They could find a way to get some home field advantage, and you got to be the champs to be the champs, right? And to be the champs, you got to knock them out, and they're not the easiest team to knock out. Lastly, here, getting up to the top of the hour here, how'd you like playing in Seattle? I mean, the 12th man. We know the way that they designed that stadium was to try to get that noise to funnel in to have an impact. Did you like it? Did it impact you at all?
I loved it. I love playing in Seattle. Like the cold, the rainy, like I loved it all, you know, knowing that everybody hates you in the stadium, you know, how loud it was. It gives you like a college type feel where all the fans are just on top of you. They play into false starts, and you know, if you get anything big, they haven't, how many false starts they've had all season. So for me, it's a great atmosphere to play, especially defensively, because you know that the crowd doesn't go against you. You know, they're not loud while you're on the field, so you can hear a lot. You know what's going on. But yeah, I love playing in Seattle. It's something about the atmosphere. For me, like I had a little bit of, you know, like a little gunpowder in my cereal, you know, every time I played in Seattle. I don't know what it was. I just was more amped up to play Seattle and beat them. So for me, man, yeah, Seattle was great.
And it feels like it's the perfect stadium to play in when you want to have this us against the world mentality. Like, we got a lot to play for. Things are on the line. So, hey, man, Thursday cannot come soon enough. Well, actually, no, we need to give these dudes some time to rest. And we get a little prayer circle out there for Davante Adams' hamstring. I mean, that's kind of the number one thing. But, hey, Rams clinch the playoffs. The Rams get the dub. This season chasing everything, all their goals, 1 seed, Super Bowl, everything is still in front of them with 3 games left to play. But a big dub for the Rams. Go follow Michael Brockers at mbrockers90. Listen to him on all of his shows. Follow him on Instagram, on the X, on all of his social media platforms. And we're going to be back. We'll probably have to do an early show, maybe a Tuesday show this week because we got the Thursday for the midweek show with Gavin, Brock, and myself. So be on the lookout for that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Also drop some comments down below. What was your score prediction for the Seahawks game? What was your biggest takeaway from the Rams' big win today against the Lions? But that's going to do it. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams Squad Show's house.
There we go.